Okay. Apologize. I think I have the sound right now. So I'm never taking my camera, microphone, or anything home ever again. So let's make sure people can see and hear. Hear you. I see you, but don't hear any voices. Okay. Somebody, I see you. Let's see if we can. I know. I think I can hear myself. Okay. Can you hear me now? Hello. What's going
Nope, can't hear anything.
Okay, now can you hear?
Nope, can't hear anything.
Okay, now can you hear? Okay, I think you can hear. I totally apologize. I don't know what happened. Oh my God. Echo, echo, echo. Everybody's sitting in echo. Okay, wondering if you can hear now. Yes, please talk some more. Can you see me? I don't think you can see my. You can't see my hands though, can you?
I can see it on your screen over there.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Cannot hear, no sound.
God.
No sound. Are you talking? Pretty soon you're gonna hear my words. Pretty soon. Are you talking?
Pretty soon. Okay, I think you can hear me now. So you heard my mom. Okay, and now you can hopefully hear me. And if Mitra thought she had it bad this morning, I have it really bad right now. So, okay. So, anyways, I think we're starting. I think people can hear me, I think, without the echoes. So, let me know if you can hear me without the echoes. Heard Sue, pretty soon bound to hear bad words. I can hear Sarah now.
Good now.
Am I echoey? Okay, so I totally apologize. If I don't finish these, which I probably won't because I've now wasted 20 minutes, I will go back and do a video maybe I'll just redo the whole video. Anyways, so the Peekaboo Shutter card. And Mom, let me know about comments if we're having trouble yet.
Jennifer's scared about us next,
Oh my gosh. Jennifer and I have had like the most experience with this, well, and probably Steven, and I have never had this many problems, but I took my setup home for Thursday. I got the camera working, but I didn't test the audio. Totally my bad. Anyways, Peekaboo Shutter cards. The kit includes a shutter card, a circle panel, and 2 of these shutter inserts. In one of them you have blue. We cut these special for my kit, and we also do have, so the kit includes 10 of all 3 pieces, 20 of the shutter inserts because you need 2. We also have the dies, so you could cut your own in whatever colors or pattern paper that you want. So anyways, let's just get right on to what we need to do. And yes, now I am little bit flustered.
Don't be stressed and don't be flustered. Everybody's happy and good. You're just here.
Okay, so we're just going to start out and we're just going to do some prep work first before we actually get onto it. I said that you could color your candles, or I am just going to brush blend them, especially right now because I want to be super quick. But some of you may have colored your candles so they were different colors with the yellow on top, so you could basically do whatever you wanted. And we didn't cut this depth to any specific length, so if you want to cut it to a smaller width, you can. So I'm just going to do that really quick on mine, and if I'm working too fast now, you can always go back and rewatch the video. If I don't get all the way through, I will tape it and post it tomorrow. So we just want some candles to fit right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to cut so we have about 8. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is an Impression Obsession die. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All their stamps I'm using are Impression Obsession. You should have a little bit of candle left over. For this piece, and I did pre-do this because usually this is pretty quick, but you're just going to basically cut your squares. So I pre-colored them for you. No, I did not pre-color everybody's. I color copied them because, yeah, that would have taken me forever. And this is just a very quick trim. You can see that I'm leaving a little bit of white space around each one. Yeah, I went home on Thursday because I had my little grandbaby Thursday night, so I did it from home. And yes, I have not done that for a very long time where I've taken my camera equipment and went home, but now I know, don't ever do it. Except we are going to do it at Christmas time because we're going to make pepperoni bread just like we did last year.
Sarah, you can go until 4 p.m. Stamplistic will start at 4.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. I'll finish. So the Make-A-Wish, I'm just trimming it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And now I will try not to rush like a mad person. You have 2 Make-A-Wish. I didn't know if you wanted blue or black. I'm just going to trim my blue. And you have a piece of yellow. It's big. And you should have 2 pieces. Oh, I forgot to grab my second piece of yellow from out in the shop. So hang on a second. That's okay. Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just going to make do with, because I didn't grab an actual kit. I just grabbed pieces. So I'm just going to cut a piece of yellow for me, and I'll have enough yellow for my other part. So you won't have to do this. You should have a big piece of yellow for the background right there. Actually, I just cut mine to the wrong size, but I don't care. Actually, you know what? I do care. I'm going to open up the kit that I have and pull it out. Because I have an actual kit right here, and I'll just replace it.
Leave it open so we know.
So, but you should have a long piece of yellow, and you should have or you should have a piece of yellow that fits in the background. I think that's about 4 by 5 1/4, and then you should have a long piece of yellow too. And actually, I'm opening up a kit, and oh yeah, there it is. So you should have a piece of yellow like this that goes back here. And you should have a longer piece of yellow like that. So out of the longer piece of yellow that I just cut, you are going to back a couple of your images. So I did the balloon and the cake. So take your balloon and your cake and back them in yellow. You will need a little bit of that yellow for the front band, which is right here. So make sure that I gave you a piece that was plenty big, so you should have plenty. And actually what I should do is I should take a picture of my settings, so when they get screwed up, if I take my camera out, or I take, have to go to a different location, then I know how to set them back up. So I have those two. Oh, actually the cake goes through, so you didn't have to do the cake. But it doesn't matter whether the cake goes there or the present or the balloons. Any of them can be seen through the window. Doesn't really matter. So right now I backed all 3 of them. The happy birthday I'm backing with the green glitter, and the Make-A-Wish I'm backing with the green glitter. So the green glitter is some of our new glitter paper. It's our diamond pack glitter. It's a cardstock, and there's 15 colors, I believe, and there is an introductory package. While we're talking, I'm just going to say my prize winner right away. A, because I know she's on here, and B, because then I won't forget to do it later. So I take all of the names and put them into a spreadsheet, and then pick a number, and whoever correlates with that number. So the winner for this time, and I include product with either your next order or I'll just send it, is Marion Phillips. So congratulations, Marion Phillips. You are the prize winner for today. So we have those pieces. We have our candles. So we're just still prepping. Now we are going to go on to our shutter card. So pull out your shutter card. A shutter card is scored. So it's got 2 scores like this. The front is actually the indented. The inside is the bump. So we have this embossed happy birthday. We're going to cut those to, I believe, 2 inches by 5 3/8. And that's depending on how much of a border you want around. So I'm going to cut mine to 2 inches by 5 3/8. If you cut it a little bit narrower, then cut it a little bit shorter. So let me do my 5 3/8 first. And this isn't the best personal paper trimmer to do that, because I lose some of my 5-inch measurements in there. This, unfortunately, is a very old embossing folder, and it's a Cuttlebug one. I did find a couple other ones that were similar to this online. So to 2, or even slightly, a hair under 2 is fine too. And these are just for the front panels. Now, I could have cut them and then I could have cut them and then embossed them, but I embossed them because then you kind of, your images kind of line up across when you do that, when you cut after you, brush blend or stamp or emboss or whatever. So we're just going to attach those onto your front panels.
What was the first measurement, Sarah?
2 by 5 3/8. That gives us a little border around the outside. So 2 by 5 3/8. And just make sure you remember which one goes on which side, because if I reverse them, then they won't line up. 2 by 5 3/8 is the measurement. There's just a small border around it. And it's a white on white, so even if your border isn't perfect, doesn't matter. And if it was perfect, it would be Hallmark. Okay, so there we have our shutter card. Let's go ahead and just get our band out of the way. Actually, first, let's take this big yellow piece and we'll attach it to the inside. Now I do have it going almost all the way out to the scores, so there's just a very small border there. And then we will get to the shutter portion of it. What's funny is after I went off and came back on the first time, like I did a test and the test worked fine, and then I went back on and it didn't work. And so, yeah, I was panicked a little there after because I thought I had it working after I came back on and then it wasn't. So anyways, now we're going to take a band. So I have paper, terrestrial teal. We've already just done one fold, and it's not an exact fold. And I like to attach my band so it connects on the back so you don't see it. So see how it connects on the back. So I have, and don't do it too tight. When I did mine, I wrapped it super tight and I have a hard time getting it. Now it's gone on and off a whole bunch of times. But we're going to add a little bit of bulk inside there, so don't pull it super tight. But we're just going to bend that around there. And you can trim it if you want to. It's a little bit long, or it doesn't really matter. But yeah, don't pull it super tight, because otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting it on and off, because I did. And we're going to add a little bit of bulk in there anyways. So now we have a piece of this is one of our new stocks, and I think you'd have some of this. I'll talk about one of the other packets that's in our kit in a minute, but we're just going to trim that. Now it'll be a hair over 4 1/4, because the card dimension is 4 1/4, but then you have the band, which added a little bit. And I am just going to be a go for it kind of gal and just give it a snip. So it's up to you. And if you want to do it even a little bit, if you want to border all the way around, you could make it 4 inches or 4 1/8, and that'll give it a border all the way around. On my sample, it goes all the way out to the outsides. Now, you're going to take your big yellow that you used to cut for your squares, and you're going to trim just a narrow one that's going to attach right on there. So just a narrow piece. Maybe let's say that's a 1/2 inch, so 3/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch, whatever you want. There's not an exact measurement for this. And if it's not totally straight, that's fine too, because mine isn't. This time I am going to just attach it on, and then I'm going to give it a snip off the back, or snip. Then I'm going to attach that onto the front of my band. We're just getting our band out of the way. And you don't have to put a band on the shutter cards. They'll go in an envelope, they'll stay closed, and then bam, when you give it to somebody, then they'll open it up. So the band, they pull the band off. So I have some foam tape all pre-cut up, so I at least did that. My mom's letting me know if I have any questions.
Yeah, no questions.
Because everybody's working so hard. So, yeah, thank you super a lot for your patience. Because, oh my gosh. Because I think I have most of you back. Some of you might have given up and will just watch the replay, and that's okay. There are gems in the other kit that you can put on here, and you can just put, I put some randomly like on a little flower there. So there's extra gems in the other kit that you can put on later. So now I'm gonna take my band off, set it aside. This piece that's extra, you're going to use that. We'll go ahead and decorate this before we attach it, because then we can trim. So on our circle panel, we're going to attach a piece of this green, which your strip was long enough to cut for here and here. We're going to put our adhesive on it, and then I'm just going to trim it even with our circle panel. And I'm kind of putting it just halfway in between the score and the bottom of the circle.
Oops, sorry about that.
That's okay. And then you should have some more yellow left that you can cut another little hunk of yellow. Off of there, yeah, because I gave you plenty of yellow. As long as you used the correct one. And again, I think mine is about 1/2 inch wide. I just cut it narrower, but it doesn't matter. This is totally, doesn't matter how wide it is. There's no right and wrong. Okay. Then we have our Make-A-Wish. Now, it does end up a little bulky with our Make-A-Wish because I did pop that up with foam tape. So, actually, I think I'm going to wait to attach that until we get it all put together. Okay, so now, I'm going to set mine aside just so we can do a little visual on how this is put together before we get to the actual one. So we have our shutter card.
Just remember, Sarah, there's always a little light no matter how hard things get.
Yeah. Well, we had it a little hard this morning, but we're going to do it. Okay, so we have tape tabs on this circle, and I'm only putting tape on the very, now you don't have to do it because I'm going to do it again with mine, so just sit tight and watch for a minute. So we have our tape tab. I put tape on it, and I'm lining it up with the top of the card. Now, because we already have embossing on there, there is a top and a bottom. On my little sample one that I'm doing, there's not. And we want to center it in between. So
How's the grandbaby?
the grandbaby's good. I had him for like 3 days, and it was awesome.
It was awful.
No, I said it was awesome.
Awesome. Okay.
He's exhausting though. Oh my gosh. So now this piece we're going to fold up, and I have our, and again, this is my my sample ones. So these have tape tabs, and you actually don't need to bend them. We're going to put tape on the tape tab. And I just put this up here so you can kind of see, you're going to center like this point centered. And for reference, when we get that far, it's at about 2 inches from the top of the card. But this is just mine. You guys are just watching right now. So we have tape on top of the tape tab. We fold in, and then you fold back, and then you fold this piece down, okay? I'm gonna do it on the other side. So now on this side, I'm putting tape on top of my tape tab, and I'm gonna do it with my actual one in just a minute. Line it up so it's top and bottom are even. We have our tape tab lined up with the score. We're gonna fold our card in, then we open it, and now we bend at the score. Now you can put one of these on top, you know, you can do it all opposite, on top and then on bottom and then on top and then on bottom. And this is what opens and closes. So that's the basics for the card, because now this tape tab you'd put tape on and attach it down. And then that's the basics of the card. So now let's go do it with our actual card. Okay, so we have, make sure you're up, you know, you're in the correct, you don't want to have your words upside down, so make sure they're facing up. Open it up, and you have your yellow panel. Then we have our tape tabs, our top and our bottom tape tabs.
Distance from the top is 2 inches to the middle of the slider showing through the window.
Correct. But right now, first we're going to start and put tape on our tape tab of our circle panel. We're going to bend it down, and our tape tab is going to attach right up here. You want it centered left to right. I'm having a hard time seeing. Okay, so centered left to right, and now we're going to just fold that up for a minute. We're going to take our 2 blue shutter inserts. Remember, they don't come in blue, they come in white, cream, and black. If you want different colors or pattern paper, we do have the die, which you can order the die as a combo, or you can order just the shutter insert or just the circle panel. So you have to pick which one you want. We're going to take one of them, put tape on top of our tape tab, and it is about 2 inches. You can look this way and kind of make sure it's centered, but it's about 2 inches. If you want to measure, which I'm not a measure kind of gal, or it's about, let's see, about 1/4 inch from the top of the card down to the top of the blue.
How far?
1/4 inch from the top of the card to the top of the blue.
Okay.
And you are going to line it up with your score. Tape is up. It's totally flat. Fold your card panel in. Open it up, and now you have your score. Fold in on your score. Now we're going to do the same thing with our other one. We're going to put tape on top of our tab. Now you're going to line it up. You're going to use this first one as a guide. So line it up. Also line it up with your score. Then you're going to fold your card panel in. You're going to open it up and then fold your shutter back in. Now you can place, you know, one on the top, one on the bottom, and then opposite, top and bottom. Now you can see there we have our shutter. Now for this card, we have, you're going to just pick one of yours. I have my cake, and I just attach that through the window. That's why we didn't need to back one of them with yellow. You only needed to back 2 because we have this whole yellow panel back here. So just put tape.
Do you want the fence on before the shutter?
Oh, well, yeah, technically. However, I didn't put the fence, I didn't put the candles on before when I did my original one. I just kind of set it underneath there a little bit. So yes, you can put your candles. Technically, we could have put our candles on first. But they should slide a little bit underneath there, not even very far. So you can put adhesive on the bottom of your candles. Thank you for the reminder, because I totally forgot my candles.
Melinda and Leslie said that.
Yeah. You don't have to, because you could always cut your candles, you know, 1 candle less and it will fit just fine. Or mine, I can slide it a little bit underneath. But if you can't slide it a little bit underneath, just chop off one of the candles. This is a totally new die cut for us, so to have a totally new die cut and have technology problems kind of stinks, but we're making do. But now we put adhesive on one of our images. Put it all the way around because you don't want anything getting caught. And you can, you're going to kind of just feed it in behind there. Decide what you want to see, which way you want it. If you, oops, I got to move mine over a little bit. If you had an image, you could stamp it through the window. Okay, so you could stamp that through the window, or we can set that one there. That's why you wait to attach this tape tab down here until this is totally put together. So now we're going to put tape on our other tape tab. Kind of fold that under, and then that attaches at the bottom. So opens and closes. Now our Make-A-Wish, pop it up. I didn't color mine yet, I'll color it later.
Oh, cute. You're going to need my peanut butter cookie after all this.
My mom has a peanut butter cookie. She offered me part of it right before we started, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Now I need her peanut butter cookie.
Yeah. Deborah Harner says you're doing awesome. Yeah, she is. I think I would be under the table sucking my thumb.
So now, these other squares, these are a little bit tricky because you don't want them to go too far under here. So you're going to decide, and you're actually just going to snip those right off depending on what angle you want it at. But yeah, you don't want it too far under there, because see how this moves right here, and also if I put it up too high, if I put it up here, then as it moves in, this part might get caught. So yeah, it's a little bit different of a situation. Now see mine was getting caught a little bit on something, and I put a little piece of Scotch tape right there. You don't really see it when it's open, but when it's closing, I just put my edge, I covered it with a little bit of Scotch tape just because something was getting caught right there, and I don't know what even was getting caught. So anyway, so yeah, you're gonna decide how you want this, snip it off. Yep, don't do it too high because you don't want it to get stuck on one of these other panels. But I wanted to use these other images, and I wasn't sure how to do that, so this is what I did. Now you can't, you do have to snip them off, because if they go over this, they kind of get really bulky in there where they're folding, so it just looks better to snip them off. And there is not a set way to do this either. So there's not an exact measurement on how much, it's just kind of eyeballing it and snipping off so they fit in there, but don't stick too far out.
So Sarah is a go for it kind of gal, and you are all going to be go for it kind of gals too.
Yeah. Okay. So there we have one. And then we have our second one at whatever angle you want. I forgot what I did. Oh, I didn't do too much of an angle. There. All right, we made it through one card. Yay!
Yep, you got 34 minutes left.
To get to...
Or 24 minutes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. I think we're good.
Okay, 24 minutes.
Oh, see right here, that's what's sticking right here. My bottom of my balloon is catching. So if something is catching, you can always use a piece of, that's catching, you can use a piece of Scotch tape. So it is a little bit tricky when you're attaching things to those shutters, just because they could end up getting caught. And if you have a piece of Scotch tape, that just makes it slide easier so it doesn't get caught. Boom. Bam. Okay, and then we have our band. Okay, one down, yay. Now our other one is right here. It's the girl one. Let me find my sample card. Now, the other packet that you have in there is a packet of 3 cards, 3 shutter, 3 envelopes, and then you have 3 circle panels and 6 of the shutter inserts, along with some extra paper, and this is from our new line of paper. So these you're going to do on your own, okay? That's what those are, your 3 extras plus some extra paper to do on your own. This one, we're going to pull it out. We're going to do some of our prep work first. So we're just going to set our shutter card aside, our circle insert. I did pre-color my cake. I pre-colored my girl.
What is the new line of paper called, Sarah?
Lessebo. L-E-S-S-E-B-O. Lessebo.
Lessebo.
Yeah. And the colors that you have right here, they're 4 1/4 inches wide, but the width doesn't really matter. You get some of them in here too. So it's these, plus there's a few extra. There's a total, I think, of 13 so far. There's supposed to be 40, but we're waiting for a whole bunch of them. So yeah, we gave you some of those as a little sampling. It's a really nice, smooth 80-pound cardstock. And then also new is the diamond print glitter paper. So these we're going to set aside. Have your cake and eat it too, goes on the inside. So first, inky wise, or let's get the inking out of the way. These I colored gray. Now, it does not matter. You can leave them white if you don't want to do any type of inking. I colored mine gray. If you're going to color them gray, you can color them with a blending brush, or you can do direct to paper. I just masked off my tape tab, just because, especially because we're doing it right away. I don't want that wet, because if it's wet with ink, then glue might not stick to it. So I'm just going to do direct to paper. But if you have a blending brush, you can brush blend it gray. If you had the die, you could die cut gray ones. Or if you don't want to mess with ink at all, just leave them white. It's okay. But I made mine gray, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm getting my inking out of the way right away. I could brush blend this, which would take a little bit longer. This was the quick method of doing this. Probably the shaky method of my camera too. Which I should probably, some of you may be doing brush blending, it may take a little bit longer, so I should probably talk. Okay, so I have mine 2 gray ones. I'm going to put the lid on my gray ink pad. Put those blending brushes away. All right, so I'm just setting these aside along with my circle panel and my shutter card. And these words go on the inside, so you can set those aside too. Now you do have a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's actually sticker paper. And so we're making the paper that goes on the front, and that's what these papers are for. I didn't use the blue or green, I just used the pink and the purple. I used a gray on there too, but I don't think you have a gray in there. But you do have, so if you want to use gray, you do have it in this packet, okay? So this is your extras packet. You have all kinds of other colors in there, yellow, orange, and yeah, yellow, orange, and gray are in here. So if you want any of those colors, you can pull them out of this packet and use them, which I'm going to pull the gray out. Maybe I meant to use gray in here instead of green, but maybe I was having a brain fart on that day. So now the important part is the width that's 4 1/4. You're just going to cut strips. So see my strips right here? Cut whatever strips you want to cut to attach. Just make sure when you cut that you retain your 4 1/4, which is the width of the sticker paper. If you cut the other edge, it'll be too short. So you want to make sure you cut your 4 1/4 edge. Or so you have your length as 4 1/4, because that's the length of your sticker paper.
Most people have gray, Sarah, so.
Oh, most people have gray. Okay. Only I have green. Well, like I said, I just put mine together. So I must have just grabbed the wrong color when I was doing it. So yeah, just cut strips of paper. Doesn't matter how wide. You don't need to measure them. So just cut some strips of paper. But make sure that they're 4 1/4 inches long. And then the purple I did use in one other spot. But I think I made the purple a little bit bigger, so you should have plenty of purple. Or if you don't have as much purple, you can pull it out of your big packet because you have it there too. But yeah, if you're not a pink and purple girl, you could have pulled out like yellow and orange, done yellow, orange, and green. So it's just up to you, whatever you prefer. But we need strips of paper. Now we have our sticker paper, and it's a crack and peel. So we're cracking it, peeling off the backing. Now we have this whole sticker paper that I'm not going to touch. So I am touching it a little. I usually start on one end, line up the edge of my paper with the edge of the sticker paper. The straighter you can get it on this initial one, the straighter everything is going to be. And then I kind of turn it back away from me. And I kind of line up the edge of this paper now with, maybe I do it sideways. It's easier to cut or to catch the edge of the previous one before it. Actually, I think I turn it upside down. There we go. I knew that didn't feel right. So now I'm going to go to my next one, catch the edge of the paper, or the edge of the pink strip with the edge of the one that's stuck down. Again, catch the edge of the one that's stuck down with the edge of the strip that you're applying, and butt them right up against each other. If you have a lot of like sniblets or little scraps of paper, this is just a great way to use them up. Okay, now we have, see, it's how it's longer down here, but that's okay. Because now we're going to cut our two panels just like we cut them on the very first one. We cut them to 2 inches wide by 5 3/8. If you want to take a little snip off of one side just to get it nice and even, you can, because you may not be totally perfect. Because if we were perfect, it would be Hallmark. So 2 by 5 3/8.
But no love with Hallmark.
What?
No love with Hallmark.
Yeah, no love. So this one's created with love. So 2 strips that are 2 by 5 3/8. So yeah, like I said, you could have done them separate, but here with doing them together, we can line up our strips on each panel. So let's see, 2 by 5 3/8. I cut my 5 3/8. Now I'm cutting my 2, and I'm cutting my 2 again. So thank you to Jennifer for letting me go long. I appreciate it, and I'm sure all you do too. There might be a few confused people that are just coming on for her and I'm still on. So if you are coming on and you're looking for Jennifer, she is going to start at 4 because I was having technical difficulties. So you're going to attach those. Oops, got a piece of green hanging out. So we do have our peekaboo shutter kits online. Again, they're available in the white, cream, and black. If you want to use, other colors, you could get the dies because then you could cut your own of the inserts, but we do sell the shutter cards separate. So if you get the dies, then you do need the shutter cards, or you can make them on a score pal.
Peekaboo shutter cards, right?
Pardon?
Peekaboo
shutter cards. Now we're just gonna take our birthday girl, attach her to our silver glitter paper, and this is our silver diamond pack. I like to attach it and then just snip it, but if you wanted to cut it first, you could. But I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm a go for it kind of gal, so I'm just gonna trim that. I am gonna pop that up with foam tape. Then when I attach it on, I only want to attach it on part of the way, and I am using this birthday queen as a little shutter. So don't do them too low. You need to save room for your birthday queen. In fact, mine should be up just a hair higher. Are you laughing at a comment?
No.
Are you laughing at me?
No, laughing at me and Melinda. Melinda, thank you. You got it first. I was putting it in. Oh, peekaboo.
Yeah, thank you, Melinda, for doing all the links.
She beat me to.
Okay, so when you put tape on this one, you only want to put tape on half. And again, you're going to attach your birthday queen there as a little kind of, it holds it shut. But you don't have to. You could put it dead smack in the middle, and then that will just mean your birthday. And I have this one close to the middle, so your birthday queen is pushed further into the corner, or you don't have to use it at all. But when you're putting it on there, you only want to put tape on half. And then we'll go to the inside, because I do want to get to the inside before we're all done. Okay, so inside.
Any idea for the next class?
Oh, the next one, yes, is going to be a book kit. I'm going to do a book kit next time because we're getting ready for our warehouse sale and those class kits. So I am going to do a library pocketbook kit. A, because somebody asked me to do that before, and B, because those kits are easy for us to send out. So, okay, so now you're going to put tape on your tape tab of your circle. This one is a little bit different for attaching our thing on the inside. So I wanted to get to this part. So I put tape on my tape tab, and I'm going to line it up centered. Oops. So line it up centered left to right. Mine is probably a little bit off, but that's okay. Okay, now, if you're stamping, like you could stamp, but you guys don't have the stamps. So I cut a panel that's going to go on the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to just show you with a different one that I have here. You're going to take a pencil and just trace the outline of that circle. You're not going to see that because our shutters are going to end up covering that up. But this will give you a good idea of where to put your words so it's centered in there. Okay, so I just take, and you don't always have to do this if you're stamping your words right through there, but I didn't have a way for you guys to stamp your words. So I'm taking a pencil and I'm just tracing that, and that's going to end up being covered up anyways by our shutters. But now I have some way, because this lines up pretty close to the top and the bottom of our circle. So it just hits the very top edge and the bottom edge of our circle. And then it should be lined up centered in there. So, or you could cut it out and do it like we did our first one also. But yeah, now we can kind of look at that. So you can attach your words inside. But I did that so you guys could attach it and not have to worry about stamping. And it might be a good idea to not use a really strong adhesive, because if you do need to move it slightly, then you can. Okay, so now we're going on to our shutters. Mine are a little bendy because I have ink on them and it's still a little bit wet. That's why I masked it off so I didn't have to worry about getting applying my adhesive over the top of wet paper. But again, so this is about a 1/4 inch from the top of our card to our shutter, and about 2 inches, but I'm kind of eyeballing it with the words that I already have in there. So I'm going to take and I'm going to put tape on my tape tab. And then fold it in, fold it back, and fold it in. Okay, so we'll do that one more time because I didn't explain it very good that time. We're putting tape on top of our tape tab, lining it up at the edge of our paper. Now this one we're going to line up so we're even with the edge of our previous shutter, and it's also going to be lined up with the score. Then we're going to fold the flap of our shutter card in, open it, and then we have our score there. We're going to fold that back. Yeah, and actually my words turned out really good. So they're pretty centered in there. If you didn't use a strong adhesive, you could always pull that off and reposition if you need to. And like, again, if I had the stamp, I would have stamped it through the window, but we don't. So that's why that's kind of a hack that I needed to do, just to do it during this craft along. You don't necessarily always have to do that. Unless your stamp is a little bit too big, then you could always draw that circle, because then you have this as a guide, plus you have your circle as a guide. Okay, now we are putting tape on our bottom tape tab, folding it under and attaching it. Oh shoot, I forgot to put my strips down. I was talking to you guys and I forgot to put my flaps down. Flaps down, flaps in. And again, you can do top, bottom, and bottom, top. 3 minutes left, okay. So now we have our shutter. Now I just do want to talk about a few things for finishing. I attached this right here, which I would probably scoot this in a little bit and cut my layers a little bit smaller, because when I'm closing this, sometimes because I'm using this little tab right there, it's getting stuck on my pieces right here. So just be careful. That's why I would kind of make this, you know, have a little bit more room. And I would scoot that in, but see how this has to be totally flush because sometimes this panel is catching right there as I'm trying to get this underneath. So either don't put this one here or scoot it in and make your layers a little bit smaller. I did take my extra paper and I put a piece down here and attached my cake. Up to you if you want to use foam tape. Probably wouldn't use as much foam tape as I did on this one because it is really poppy openy. Technical terms. But you can attach that.
New coined word.
I did attach, you know, pieces. I cut strips to go right here. If they overlap your circle, make sure not to put adhesive under there. But let's go to our birthday queen on the front. So when I did that, because I did pop up this girl, I double popped that one. So I did attach this to a piece of glitter paper, and then I double popped the one in order to make it go above the, and I'm just going to do that as my last part. And then I will get off. Jennifer is next, and I do thank her that she gave me extra time because that was like super nice, knowing that I was struggling through getting all set up and everything. So I am putting adhesive, and I'm only putting, oops, I put it on the wrong side. I'm only putting tape on half. So just put tape on half and put double adhesive there so it can overlap and it doesn't tape it shut.
1
minute left. Okay. So double adhesive only on half, so it can overlap a little bit and it can be our closure. And again, just be cautioned if you put something right here that this side sometimes gets stuck while it's closing. So there we have our 2 birthday card peekaboo shutter craft alongs. And again, I want to super thank you for your patience while we got set up, because yeah, but I will double check, triple check next time so I don't have these problems. So thank you again for your patience. Thank you to Jennifer, who's next. Make sure to refresh your screen, which you're used to after finding my video. And Marian Phillips, you are the winner, and we will see you next